Hey, I lost my white pieces. All because that guy aborted. God damn it. I got screwed. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. All right, I'm going to start with simple E45. Depends on what my opponent does, but let's say we see knight F3. How should we continue? What do you guys think? F6. This is why I can't listen to everything I see in the chat. Can't listen to everything I see. Or I'll start with a knight. Bobercio has been here for most of our Slowbrah series. He says the Traxler. Well, it would have to be specifically against this, right? So for you, Bobercio, I will play knight to f6. Not bishop c5, falling into the Jerome, but knight to f6. Now again, there's no telling my opponent, no forcing them to go knight g5, but it's obviously quite tempting. He doesn't do it. What can I say, Bobercio? I tried, buddy. I tried. Gave it my best. But ultimately, I don't think I can force him to go knight g5, and now we have a new decision to make. Gasser would take the pawn. Thing is, I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're telling any lies. Yeah, this knight takes pawn. Of course, we can just develop the bishop as well. Bishop c5. That'll be a great move. Knight takes, rook e1, d5. Bishop b5. Gets a little messy. There's also, of course, just moving the knight. Say knight d6 or knight f6. It definitely changes the type of position that we're getting. I'm thinking more just get castle kind of vibe. I'm going to go bishop c5. Simple move, right? All things considered. Just me trying to get castle. Knight g5 doesn't really work anymore because I'm going to castle and the pawn will get defended. Knight e5, d4 just doesn't work when the bishop's on c4. And so I'm wondering, is my opponent thinking Evans? Are they thinking c3, d4? These things are all on the table. Okay. d6. We want a castle. Okay, he's stopping bishop to g4. Yeah, everything he's done makes complete sense. I think it's time to castle here. Okay, knight c3. Now, I thought he was going to go c3 and d4. Knight c3 is a little bit pleasant. I like to see that move. So I'm actually thinking that knight a4 is a bit annoying, because now he might look to take my bishop. So I'm looking at a6. Against that, I'm also looking at knight d4. Of course, h6 moves like that are always going to be reasonable here. Hmm. I'm gonna go h6. Knight a4. I'll let him take that. Let him take that bishop there, or in some cases maybe even let him take it on c5. But I'm gonna go for a plan with knight e7, knight g6. Thinking e4, e5 positions. This one is pretty standard. You'll often see white go knight d2, knight f1, knight g3. It's pretty much the same thing, just a different way to get there. Knight d5. Makes sense. Takes knight e7. Knight a5, I don't think is the right move because, like, if the pawn was on d3, I would consider this. But now the bishop can save itself and the knight will just be silly on a5, so I don't want to do that. But I do think that I will take this knight. Pawn takes, probably jump the knight into d4. I mean, we're happy to see this because it blocks the bishop, it doubles the pawns. If we go knight e7, then maybe d4, knight takes, and he's doing all right. So I'm going to put the knight here. Offer an exchange. My pawn structure just looks better than his. That's it. All because of this e takes d5 move and the double pawns that were created. So takes. If he goes like d3, I think my position is just a little bit better there. Okay, c3. Well, I've only got one move really. Okay, d4 is not possible, but I have to start thinking how I want to play this position. f5 is almost certainly the move. This bishop doesn't want to stay here very long, just because it has some moves can harass it very easily. So the bishop wants to be back on b6. This guy only really needs to go bishop d7. And I would say f5, queen f6, bring the rook over. That's basically the type of position that I want. That's the type of position I want to have. So I'm going to start by bringing the bishop back. Looks like good prophylaxis. Getting out of the way of these ones. Okay, a4 is a nice move, but definitely one that I'm ready to deal with either a6 or a5. I'm going to decide which one. I think I like a5. Bishop d7 now has another target, and f5, queen f6 is on deck for me. That's my next plan. Because I don't want to play queen f6 and double the pawns. And what do I do in my position? My pawn chain is pointing this way, so usually means the play for me is going to be on that side of the board. He's definitely planning this. which we are going to have to take. Let's finish our development. Doesn't look like much, but keep an eye on that pawn, connect the rooks. This one we have to take. It's not really that we want to, but if he takes here, that position is awful. So this move must happen. We're still watching this. And I think I'm going to play f5. Our pawns are starting to fix themselves on dark squares, right? And it's important to take a look at the bishops. Light square bishops, so dark square pawns kind of benefits my position. His bishop is just going to be defending pawns all day, and my bishop's going to be attacking. If d4, I'll probably play e4. Okay. Well, here, f4 becomes very tempting. Rook e4 loses the rook. And rook f3, that just looks like a funny square for a rook. f4, rook f3, maybe g5. Yeah, f4 looks pretty good. The only thing about f4 is light squares may become weak, let's say, if I win the rook. I'm almost not that happy about it. Almost. Just have to watch out. The only reason I played this is because the rook can't go backwards. So rook e4 would lose the rook, which I think works out. And rook f3, I'm not even sure that we have to win the rook here in order to have a good position, because the rook just looks funny. Like it's just on the wrong square. So although this is tempting and very direct, I don't feel that it's the I don't feel that it's the best. What I want to do is I want to bring this rook to e8 badly. That way any d4 is met by e4, and then maybe we can go like that. If I go g5, d4 looks still a little bit tricky. So let's move the queen. I was thinking about queen f6, which honestly does look pretty good, not gonna lie. I'm between queen f6 and queen h4. Queen g5 seems wrong to block the pawn. I'm between these two moves. Just trying to imagine what positions are likely to happen. Queen f6 looks nicer just because it's closer to everything. Exerts some pressure on the center. Queen h4 is obviously very, very direct. Okay, well, let's be direct. I think queen f6 would have been Just as good. This move's really important, though. It looks like nothing, but it actually makes a big difference. Yeah, so this is the move that we were kind of expecting, and this is what I was saying. We wanted to bring the rook over. So takes. So yeah, queen f4 is very direct, but queen f6 would have felt a little bit better. It also kind of stopped d4, or at least dissuaded it. Okay, black's position is still very good. We have control over the e file. Dark square pawns everywhere. Light square pawns for white, so my bishop is thriving right now. Queen needs a square. Queen d2 looks like a good one. Rook e8, there's rook takes f4, so that doesn't work out. And if we go g5, which I think we almost have to do, I'm really not sure I'm a fan of this queen h4. I kind of wish it was on f6 now. Because, yeah, we can play g5, but then, I don't know, this queen feels locked out. And if we play g4, there's always rook takes f4, so I'm not sure I like this queen on h4 right now. It's not giving me a good feeling. Yeah, I don't like it at all, actually. So much that I'm going to bring it back to the square. I think it should have been on. I could be wrong about that, but this feels so much better. It's just g5, then the pawns can advance normally, the pawn's protected. It's, controlling and supporting things in the center of the board. Rook here we could take and go rook e8, g5. This is where it should have been the whole time. Rook e1 makes a lot of sense. Good move, I think. I think we can play g5 here. We can't really double the rooks because this pawn is loose. But the other thing is I could take and go rook e8. I'm going to say this is sufficient. e5, so again, everything's supported. King g7 will be a really nice move. Get off this diagonal. Queen d4, probably rook e8. The a pawn is hanging, but I prefer to just maintain control of the center here. Felt a little bit greedy to go after this pawn, especially because rook or queen to a1 would always almost win it right back. Like b3 seems like the only reasonable way to stop it. Maybe bishop d5. E4, E5 positions, especially from the black side, can sometimes be just so equal, so symmetrical. So you really have to work for your advantages. And it can feel kind of bad when you're playing a lower rated player, but it feels great when you're playing a higher rated player. So, double-edged sword. Plus, there's still lots and lots of space in this game for um, mistakes to happen, blunders to happen, etc. So g4, there's rook d3. So I don't think that does anything for me, but rook e1 does look very tempting. Or rook e8 rather, or queen e1. So we'll try to trade the queens off the board. The rook's in a precarious spot, but it's not trapped just yet. So that's why I'm not fully committing to it. So he goes rook d3. Bishop f5 is maybe nice to throw in because it forces rook d4, but let's have a think. Could also just start with this. Yeah, I think that might be better. The reason I don't like this is rook d4, check, bishop f1, and I'm thinking in that position, what am I supposed to do? Hmm. So I'm either giving a check or I'm going bishop f5, I think. Kind of tough to say which one's better. They both look very, very, very similar. So this will force the rook to d4. The queen will come down to e1 and give a check. Could take. He could also ignore it and just go here. It's not. It's not forced at all. Queen takes queen. Could also play bishop f1, but it looks like he's steering clear of that. Now it might be the time to bring the king in. Yeah, the only other thing I'm thinking about is like queen a1 to go rook e1 and go for mate. That could very well be an idea. And the more I look at the position, the better that looks. Queen A1. It's hard for white to make a meaningful threat because rook E1 is happening so quickly. So I'm guessing that queen takes E1 was actually much better than king H2 because this extra idea for me, I feel like it's quite powerful. There's rook takes F4, but okay, just take the material there, I think. So queen D1 looks like the most likely move. The reason I chose A1 as opposed to B1 was I thought that after queen D1, I could play queen takes C3, hitting the rook. That'll be essentially lost for my opponent, except there is a move queen to H5, which might be playable. Queen H5, rook E1, queen takes H6, queen takes D4. No, there's no way. Takes here, I lose the bishop. That's not great for me. Queen D1, queen takes C3, queen H5. Not sure. Maybe rook E5 or something? Because of queen H6, queen D4, queen G5. It's only one queen, and now my bishop's defended. Bishop E2 looks like a good move. He's also in a bit of a, like, I guess he's kind of stuck now for a move. Like, the bishop can't really move at all, but the position he has is sturdy. Bishop E2 is a really good one. This rook may go to C4 next, so it's nice to have rook E7 available. This move is a little bit annoying, especially because bishop D1 exists. That's a surprisingly annoying resource. I want to avoid positions where my queen is too far from my king. So I'm thinking rook E7 might be just a good move to play. Gets off a light square, guards this pawn. Just kind of an overall move. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. So E6 might be a useful move. Definitely one I'm considering. I still think, yeah, bishop D1 is surprisingly good. At some point, white's going to maybe play H4 G3 to open up these pawns. But bishop E2 is so strong. Like, looks like an average move, but it's actually really annoying. Yeah, so bishop D1, and now the queen doesn't really have anything to do here. So I guess the plan is now, queen queen here and probably get the queen out. Still think I have time though, because I'm not sure what white's actually doing. Bishop here is never possible. Rook c4, I was thinking was the main idea. Maybe we should just be bringing the king up. So let's bring the king up. e6. All my pawns will end up on dark squares, which is pretty much picture perfect. Rook c4, not a bad move at all to put pressure. I might go e6 there. He does threaten or start to think about moves like queen d4, but remember, his bishop is still hanging down here, so it's not that easy. Yeah, b6 is nice, guards this pawn. Moves like c4, b4. I no longer have to worry. So I was thinking b6 here. It doesn't have to be b6, honestly. It could be anything. Could even be king g6. Kind of like king g6. A little bit aggressive, not gonna lie. Let's do it. Let's do it. So honestly, I wasn't sure about this move because I thought that giving me rook e1 was not worth it. Takes, and I just don't know if there's mate there. So we'll give it a go because this is kind of the whole reason why I wasn't necessarily sure that this was a very good move for white. Now we really have to think. All right. I think we're going to have to take it, right? Kind of have to take it. Kind of have to take it. Takes. So queen check. King f6. Right? Queen check again. These are the checks. King g6. I mean, queen check again. King here we can always rule out, so we don't have to bother looking at that. If king f7, then rook takes c7 is a massacre, but technically we can play king here if we want. I think that the most we're getting there is a draw in that position. Like to go king here. Yes, we can play rook e5, but then we don't have a mate threat, right? If we play rook e5, so we can go here. this will happen. May as well give it a whirl. Queen f3, king back, queen here. Stepping on to the 7th rank will basically always should always lose the game. So that's never really an option, unfortunately. Unless we go here and make a draw this way. But I don't think there's anything here. Rook e5, rook c7, right? And we just don't have anything. King here, queen there, and we're obviously like the best we can do is block a check with our rook, which is obviously not going to help us out at all. So I would say looks like a draw is the fair result. Don't really see how our king can end up on a safe square. Go to f6. Yeah, I think it's just a draw. I mean, the thing is here, you can play king. Maybe no. I was thinking you could go here, but and takes king d8, but at some point it's too much. You know, he has queen g7, and probably he can find a way to win these pawns with check. So this was a little surprising. I think it kind of got thrown away though by me. He played it really like, I mean, I have a massive advantage here. I really regretted queen h4, I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to just play queen f6, but yeah, this was good. Queen e1. Hey, you know, we can just take and go king g7 or something. Rook e1. Like, we're much better in this endgame, right? All these weak light square pawns for us to target. He's got no targets. I've got the open file. So all very promising stuff, but to be honest, I didn't see bishop e2, and I played queen a1. Did not see this move at all. And after this move, yeah, I might still be like fine and maybe slightly better, but not doing that much, in my opinion. Bishop c2, and just the fact that I can't touch the 7th rank is the worst part. I can never touch the 7th because of rook c7. So a good game by my opponent, but nothing unreasonable. I mean, he definitely made a lot of mistakes. Like knight d5 was, he takes d5 was no good here. I think allowing this f5, f4 was a huge mistake. And then we got the open file. So we were just kind of sailing here. But then queen a1, I just didn't see bishop e2. Bishop e2 is like, this move's really strong. And after bishop d1, which is another really good maneuver, like not just here, but he played bishop e2 and bishop d1. Those two moves are killer. Then my queen is not doing anything. It takes a long time to get it back out safely. So this was really well played, because at the end, there's nothing anybody can do. Yeah, nothing anyone can do. Well, of course, I think of course my opponent's gonna have a good accuracy here because he played a good game, but it's not gonna be anything crazy because the game was, as I just said, full of mistakes. Like pawn takes here, even rook takes, and queen e2. A lot of this stuff is just wrong, and yeah, white's a lot worse here, but instead of maybe just playing more slowly, I went here because I thought the game was nearly over with rook e1, and bishop e2 brings it from a big disadvantage right back to around equal. But bishop e2, bishop d1 is it's a really impressive maneuver. And then rook c4. I played king g6, and yeah, he just went for it. Bishop c2. And who knows, maybe he saw it or maybe he didn't. But either way, he did have rook c7 against any king move here, so there wasn't anything I could do about it. And whether or not he saw that or not, it happened. It was in the position. So for sure, a good game. And not much point trying to be hero at the end, because it is just a drop. It really is. GG to Yamazaki. 4-4, 4-4. And what was this? Oh yeah, this was e4, e5. Not really a specific opening because I just wanted to get knight g5, but my opponent didn't bite. So unfortunately, we didn't get our Traxler we were looking for. So unfortunately, the game was kind of a non-game because there wasn't really any opening in particular. I guess it's just the Italian, but yeah. It would have been nice if we got our Traxler we wanted. I'm not a big fan of the Traxler. I think the opening is trash, but it was a request.